around 20 slides to discuss for today. All right, so the following part we're going to discuss is about informed consent, right? If any of you are still not quite sure what informed consent is, I have listed the definitions for you. So informed consent, it is a person's decisions, right, given voluntarily to agree to a healthcare treatment, procedure, or other intervention, right? So informed consent, it is given by our client. But to helping you guys to understand the informed consent a bit better, you can see this term have two words. I want you to break it into half. The first half, it is informed. Informed means information. So we as a staff, we need to provide information to our clients and supporting them to make their own decision regarding the healthcare treatments, procedure, or any intervention. All right. For example, your client's going to have a blood test, right? So we need to ask for consent. Ask your clients whether they want to perform the blood test or not, right? So before you asking the clients to give you the consent or permissions, you must providing the information to the client. Who ordered this blood test? Why does he need to have the blood test? How long does the blood test take? Any potential risks when we're taking the blood test, right? All of those information we need to inform our clients. Then our clients will, based on what you're telling them, what they're understanding, they will make the decision. Yes, I want to go ahead with the blood test. No, I don't want to have this blood test because of this and this and that, right? So that is informed consent. So here at the second part of this slide, I'm showing you what we say as a valid consent. So it's not every permission we say that would be a valid consent. So here it's showing you the valid consent. Firstly, it must the person understands what they are agreed to, right? If they are not quite sure, let's say if they don't understand why I need to have this operation, why I need to follow this treatment, then probably that is they will not making the decision whether they want to do or not, right? So all of those consents the clients having, we must provide some understandable information to them. And the consent our clients making, that need to be voluntary, right? That means no one is forcing our clients, or no one would give any pressure to the clients to making those decisions. So all the decision made by the client is voluntary. They agree to do so, and they are not having any pressure to making those decisions. And also, the consents they're making need to be specific and clear, right? And current. So that's what we have mentioned earlier. We need to make sure the information we provided to the client is clear and also with a really recent purpose. What is the purpose of the clients making this consent about, right? So they need to know what they need to agree to. Is it about the blood test? Is it about an operation? Or is it about a doctor prescribing a new medication, etc.? So we need to provide a specific purpose and clear information to our clients. And not everybody can making a informed consent. Only given by the capable people. So what would be the capable people you think they can make the informed consent? Or can you tell me any people or any group of people that they may not be able to making a valid informed consent?
People suffering from dementia.
Yeah, so people living with dementia, correct? Why do you think they are unable to making a valid informed consent? No? Why? What do you think? Why you think people living with dementia, they are unable to making a valid informed consent?
I think due to physical condition, they sometimes can't control themselves and don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, so because they have cognitive impairment, they are unable to making a proper or right decisions for themselves, right? So definitely they are not the capable people making the informed consents. Any other group of people you think they may not be able to making a valid informed consent as well? Anyone else?
Maybe someone with serious I mean, like maybe someone's who not able to talking to communications, like maybe they just bed rest or something and they can't even give a concept with because all the limited ability they have.
Can you explain a little bit more? You mean if
I mean, like
is not able to talk, they can't.
Yes, they can't talk, they can't do anything with the body, just the a bed rest or something. They can't give on any concepts, right? Because they don't have ability
even
to.
though the people who is not able to talk, they can still make the informed consents by signing, or even though they can't make a verbal consent, but they still having the capacity to knowing what they are doing, then they can still make the informed consent. So it is not because of they having disability, then they can't make the consent. No, that is not the concept. The concept is as long as the person still cognitively intact, they know what they are doing, they know what they are agreeing to or what they disagree to, then they can still make the informed consent. But yeah, okay.
I think people that's not coming of age, like children.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, keep
going.
going.
And I have a customer last week. She's 60, I think, but she told me that she doesn't understand normal communication. So is that like
communication?
I think it's like cognitive impairment, because I was talking with her about a payment, because she was buying something from me and I gave her option of payment and she said, right, and she told, I don't understand what you say. I don't understand people, I don't communicate easily. So I think those people as well, they cannot do this.
Yeah, so it's similar as what we say, if the person have any cognitively impairment, then we may need to get the consent from the person responsible. So it doesn't mean that we are not getting the consent, but we still need to get the consent, but probably we're getting the consent from the other responsible people. For example, from their family member, from their daughter, from their son, right? We still need to get consent, but we're probably getting the consent not from the client themselves if they have any cognitively impaired. And also, like you mentioned, children, if they are under 18, then they still need, when we need to get the consent, we need to get the consent from their parents or from their guardians, right? So those group of people, they are unable to make a valid informed consent. Okay, so for us working in aged care, make sure that it's really important for you guys. Make sure everything you do to your clients, you are getting the proper permissions and consent from your clients. I think we did mention it previously. Consent, they have different types. They do have informed consent and uninformed consent. That is still the permission we're getting, right? But informed consent is talking about we need to provide a lot of understandable information to our clients and helping them to make decisions. But some of the consents we can get without providing information. For example, if you're just helping your clients to use the bathroom, you're probably just asking, John, would you like to use the bathroom now? Right? John say, yeah. then that is, you did not provide any too much detailed information to John, right? So that is uninformed consent, which is the permission you're getting from the client without providing information. Both of these type are using in aged care. We don't say always must be informed consent or uninformed consent. We can use both in our daily practices. But in most of the situation or circumstances, most of the time we do require to provide some information to our clients to helping them understanding the whole circumstances and supporting them to making decision. For example, like I mentioned, the doctor has prescribed a new medication to our client, right? So the doctor is holding the responsibility to explain to our client what is this medication used for, how long does you need to take this medication, what could be the side effect of this medication, what would be the benefits, etc. After our clients understanding all of those, they can make decision, okay, I would like to take this medication, or no, I don't want the side effect, I don't want to take this medication, right? That is an informed consent. But as we say, we do also probably using some uninformed consent as well. And also, consents can be given in a different way. One, it is verbal consents, right? So when you're asking John whether you want to go for shower, John say yes, let's we go and have shower now. That is a verbal consent, right? So he say yes to you. And sometimes, like one of the students has mentioned, if the person has difficulty of talking or speaking, they can definitely also using their body language or gesture as giving you the consent. For example, the person is not able to talk, but when she's thumb up, probably they said, yeah, good to go. She give you the consent to doing so, right? Or, okay, do it. Or the other way is they can sign, or somebody will sign on behalf of them to giving you the consent, right? So consent, they have different type. It's not always only the written or verbal consent, it's also have some informal consent, right? So which is using our body language or gesture, right? So please remember, at least the key concept is everything we do, we must getting the consent from our clients. Okay? Any questions? So far so good? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nãy buổi
So the following one, it is mandatory reporting, right? So this one we have discussed it numbers of times. So listed for you the definition of mandatory reporting. That is also a legal requirement, all right? Please remember that is a legal requirement to report any witness.
Hi, sorry, I'll be blocking the road for a while. Thank you for that.
Audrey, are you driving?
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I didn't think I didn't unmute myself, sorry.
That's
I
all
will
right.
because it's moving day for me. I have too many stuff.
Oh, okay. So as we say, that is a legal requirement for all of us. If you witness or you suspect any forms or any types of abuse and neglect cases, you have no options. You must report. That is the law. Okay. So when we talk about different type of abuse, here are listed on the bottom of these slides. It's including financial, psychological, neglect, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. Any of these, even though you do not have a clear evidence or information, even though you just suspect, you guess your clients probably is suffering in any form of abuse, please report it. Okay, that is mandatory, compulsory. It is a must. All right. And especially if focused on any cases involving children, adults in aged care, or even though mental health facilities. All right. So it's not only about your clients. If any children, you know, children being abused, we also need to report it as well. Right. And also the health and community workers, we must following the mandatory reporting laws. I think, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, even though teachers are working in the school or even working for early childhood, they also holding this responsibility to report any child abuse, right? Same as us, we do need to report it, not only the elder abuse, if there's any child abuse, we also need to report it, okay? Do you still remember what are the other cases that we also need to mandatory reporting, except elder abuse or child abuse? Any other cases we must also report according to the law?
Or when someone about to kill the other.
Also, there's like unexpected death or accident.
Yeah, so unexpected death. Yeah. So if your clients suddenly collapse and then pass away, so you must definitely, that is 100%, you must report. Not only reporting to your supervisor, we do also need to report it to the aged care and quality and safety commissions and also the police as well. All right, so you must be aware. Any other cases we do need to report? We are talking about mandatory reporting, right? So we are not just the general cases reporting. That is, you're already aware that we always need to report, but there are some category of cases it is mandatory reporting. So any other cases you know or you remember we discussed that is mandatory reporting? So we have mentioned about child abuse, elder abuse, and also Audrey was mentioned unexpected death, right? What else? Any other cases? I'm just testing you guys if you remember what I discussed previously. No? How about missing residents? Do you think it is mandatory reporting? Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
What does that mean, missing residents?
They run away.
Okay?
They run away.
They run away. And
Kidnapping.
kidnapping. Yeah. Or they're gone missing. They're absconding, right? So if you have any missing residents, like we say your resident is not in the facility, you couldn't find them, right? That is also a case you must report. That is also part of the mandatory reporting, okay? And that is also you must report to your supervisor, your the aged care commissions, and also to the police sometimes if you really can't find. If your client is missing, first you need to report to your supervisor and the commission. And second is if the client you couldn't find the client, even though the client's gone out missing and you find them, you still need to report to the commission. But in case if you couldn't find your residents, then you also need to report to the police, right? So you also getting support assistance from police to trying to look for the person, right? So please write that down. Those category of cases you must report to your supervisor and the commissions or the policeman. So first, it is the elder abuse or child abuse. That is 100% mandatory reporting. Second, if there's any unexpected death, right? That is another cases you do need to report. And also, if there is any missing residents, your residents are absconding, right? Couldn't find it, left the facility without informing anyone, and you couldn't find them, or even though you find them, you still need to report. Okay, let's say if your clients just went out from the main entrance to cross the street to the park, right? But if they did not tell anybody and you couldn't find them in the facility, even though after 5 or 10 minutes you found them in the park, you're still required to report to the commissions. All right, and if you don't find them, then definitely you do need to report it to the police as well. And also, there's another cases if any unreasonable use of force. For example, your clients is hitting each other, right, or any unreasonable use of force, then that is another case you must report. And also unlawful or inappropriately using restrictive practices, that is also another case. All right, so please write them down. Those are the cases you must report. That is the law. Okay. And the following, that is about client's boundary and practitioner's boundary. So he is listing for you, we're working as support workers, or even though for us like registered nurses or the doctors, we always need to establish a clear boundary in our role. Yeah, so we must knowing what we're supposed to do, what is our job, or which is not our job to do, right? So that means it's limiting the services you provide to what is specific to your job role description. So that's why I keep reminding you guys, when you start working in a new job, or when you have signing a new agreements, employment agreements, make sure you read through the job description. You're fully understanding what is your role and responsibility as this position, right? And you only perform the task within your job role. If something is outside of your job role, you should refer to somebody else, right? That is called a work role boundary. And also, please do not share any of your personal or sensitive information to anyone else, or including your clients. For example, I do see some care staff, right? They may have some argument at home with her husband or with his wife. Then he or she starts sharing their arguments at home with the clients in the workplace. Then they asking the client's opinions and discuss all of those with the clients. That is not good. That is breaching your professional boundary. Okay, so keep your private life and your workplace separately. Okay, not to sharing your sensitive or personal information with your clients, or even though with your colleagues, right? And definitely not to taking any advantage of your client's kindness. Okay. You may see, your client is going out to, let's say, buying a cigarette, and you're asking your clients, can you also buy a box of cigarette for me? No, please don't do that. Can't take any advantage of your client's kindness. Okay, that is also, we say, a professional boundary. So make sure, again, knowing clearly, fully understanding your role and your responsibility. For example, if a client asking you, can you please fix this wheelchair for me? Do you think that is within your role and your responsibility? So your client's wheelchair is not working, or it's broken, let's say, faulty. They're asking you to fix it. Do you think that is part of your job and within your job role?
Of course not.
Of course not. So who do you refer this to? You can't just ignore your client's request, right? So who do you need to refer to?
We have technicians, and I will tell my supervisor to show me where can I find a help.
Yeah, so definitely you refer to your organization's handyman or maintenance, right? And fill out the hazard report form, hand it over to the maintenance or also your supervisor, so at least they can follow up and send some technicians or relevant person to come and fix those equipment for our client, right? So that's just an example to tell you how important for you to understanding your role, and also you must refer your client's request to the appropriate person, right? You can't just say, no, it's not my job, I don't care. No, that is not good enough. So we do need to still need to follow up, but probably that is not your job to do it, but your responsibility is to follow up and refer that to a relevant person. Okay? And the following, it is about the policy framework. So as everybody you know, we must follow our organization's policy and procedure. So that is part of the legal requirements of the organization. They must have all those policy in place to helping the staff to following those policy. Okay. So firstly, if you don't see your clients have a proper policy, that will be the first big questions. If your organization, they are not providing you some training and providing you detail how to access to those policy and procedure, that will be another problem. Okay, so every organization, they must have their policy framework in place. And also they are responsible to updating those policy and procedure and reviewing the policy as well. As you know, like we mentioned, the recent changes of the new Aged Care Act and standards. So that means that is prompting the policy, the organization to update their policy. Starts giving some training to the staff to explain to the staff what are the changes of the policy, where can they access to the new policy, etc. Right? So that is the organization's responsibility. And of course, you as a staff, you do need to follow and promote those policies in your daily work. You can't say, oh, I don't know where to access it, so I just do whatever I want. Oh, I don't understand this policy, I just do the way I prefer. No. So you must always checking and following the responsibility, the policy and procedure. That is part of our responsibility. Right? And the following part is showing you about records management. So that is also part of the organizational policy. Every organization, they would have clear or have those policy in place. That is to explain to the staff and guide you how to keeping our records, our clients' records, right? Where do we store those records, and how long do we need to keep those records, and who can have access to those records? Like for example, in aged care facility, depends on the organization, right? But most of the organization, they will keep our clients' records for 5 to 7 years. Right? Depends on your organization. Even though your clients has those their records need to be stored properly, and also we keep it for at least 5 to 7 years. Some of the facility, they may keeping that for even 8 to 10 years, so it depends on organization. But at least your organization, they must have a proper policy and procedure in place to keeping those clients' records. Yeah, and nowadays we do use the digital system, so it's more easier for us to keeping all of those digital informations in the computer or in the system. But previously, we do using a lot of hard copy and paper based, so they must have a proper archive room, we say, or storage or a room to store all of our clients' documents and their records. Right, so that is part of the legal requirement as well. And the following one is to emphasize to you guys that is part of your legal requirement is to understanding your role and also for employer and your client's responsibilities. I think we did went through and discussed in the last couple of units regarding workers, employer, and client's responsibility. But at least you do need to understanding your own role. What is your role as a support worker? Really asking you guys in every single week about your responsibility. Do you still remember as a care support worker in aged care facility, what would be your responsibility and your role? Anyone?
Supporting the client,
Supporting the clients what?
like emotional support, or make sure the client ensuring their safety.
Okay, yeah, so to make sure we providing the high quality of care and services to our clients to ensure their safety. Yeah, good. That is part of our responsibility. What else?
Provide personal care.
For
Provide personal care like dressing, bathing.
yeah, for what? For why do we need to provide personal care?
To help the client for daily activity.
Yeah, to daily activities, correct? So don't forget everything we do, we must have a reason, right? That's why I'm asking you, why do we need to provide personal care to our client? That is to promote their physical well-being, right? What else? As a care support worker, what else are our responsibilities?
Supporting them the daily needs. Like
Supporting the client's daily needs?
yeah, like
excellent.
eating, dressing, bathing.
Okay, yep, excellent. So don't forget, one of your main responsibility is to follow your organization policy and procedure. Okay, that is also another responsibility. So let's have a look at these slides. That is showing you the three main responsibility as a workers and also the responsibility as an employer. So as workers, you must follow the safe work practices. Like we say, whatever we do, the care and services need to make sure it's not causing any harm to our clients, right, or others. And secondly, we do holding the responsibility to report any hazards and also the unsafe clients have high risk of falling, or if your clients have risk of choking, or if your clients have risk of challenging behavior, all of those you do need to report. That is part of your responsibilities, right? And also, you must understanding your own role and also your employment rights as a worker, right? As we say about your job description, because in your job description, they will clearly listing every dot point what will be your role and responsibility. So please read through all of those. That is really important, right? And also there are a lot of responsibility as an employer. So they do have the responsibility to provide a safe workplace and equipment to all of the staff, okay? And also the client as well. If the client's required to have wheelchair, you can't say, oh, because of I have no budget, I can't purchase those equipment. No, that is the employer's responsibility, right? So if you want your staff to perform certain tasks, you must providing the relevant equipment to our client, to the staff, and also they need to make sure the workplace is safe to work for our staff. And our employer, they do need to prevent any workplace bullying and discrimination. Yeah, that is part of your employer's job. They need to establish a safe and healthy working environment, including no bullying and no harassment or no discrimination to all the staff. And definitely, that is also our key concern is whether our employer are paying us fairly, right? So our pay would be different according to your experiences, according to your ability, but they should not pay you differently because of any other terms, right? It's not because of your age, because of your gender. They only will adjust your salary or adjust your hourly rate based on your experience and ability. Okay, so that is about make sure fair payment, right? And the following, as we have mentioned about our clients' rights and responsibility. So our clients, they are receiving services from us, but they do also holding their own responsibility as well. So they must telling us if they are sick, they do need to inform us. If they have any information or anything changes, they need to let us know. They need to provide the updated information to us, right? And even though the family member, they are holding their own responsibilities as well, which is we have discussed. So as we say in health and community services, we are not only we're not only working with our clients, elderly people. We may also have chance working with children or people with disability, or even though Aboriginal people and also the Torres Strait Islander, right? So you must also fully understanding the client's rights and encourage our clients to also work holding their responsibilities. So the following video is what I mentioned, the new changes of the Statement of Rights, that is to replace the previous Charter of Aged Care Rights. So please everyone have a look and also take some notes regarding the key concepts. That is really fresh and new. They just started and effective from 1st of November.
Everyone receiving aged care services has the right to be safe and treated with dignity and respect. In fact, there is a Statement of Rights that outlines older people's rights in aged care. The Statement of Rights is part of the Aged Care Act 2024, known as the New Act. It explains older people's rights when they use aged care services. The Statement of Rights puts older people at the centre of aged care. It's also a reference for registered providers and aged care workers. You can use it to help you deliver care that promotes and upholds the rights of older people. The Statement of Rights includes the right for every older person to make decisions about their own life and have these decisions respected, get the information and support they need to make decisions, communicate their wishes, needs, and preferences, access safe and quality care, be treated with dignity and respect, have their privacy respected and personal information protected, have their culture and identity respected, and stay connected with their...
Can you please take a photo or screenshot or write them down? That is all our statements of rights for all the elderly people receiving aged care services. Okay?
Okay.
Take a photo or write it down.
community. Providers need to make sure that they act in line with the Statement of Rights. This includes making sure their workers have the right qualifications, skills, and experience. Providers must take all reasonable steps in proportion to the level of risk to older people to act in line with the Statement of Rights when they deliver aged care services. Show that they understand the rights of older people under the Statement of Rights. Have the systems, processes, and skills they need to uphold the rights of older people. You don't have to get older people to sign the Statement of Rights under the new Act, but you must. Give a copy of the Statement of Rights to the older people you care for and people thinking of using your services. Explain older people's rights to them in a way they understand. Keep records showing how you've met this obligation. Providers can choose how they show that they have met this obligation. If an older person thinks a provider isn't delivering care and services in a way that's in line with the Statement of Rights, they have the right to make a complaint. They need to be able to do this without fear of being punished or unfairly treated by the provider. If an older person isn't happy with the outcome or prefers not to speak to the provider, they can make a complaint to our Complaints Commissioner. If providers or workers aren't delivering care in a way that upholds the rights of older people, the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission will step in. If providers aren't willing or able to deliver care in line with the rights of older people, we will hold them accountable. As a provider, you should also support your workers to raise issues or make complaints without fear of being punished. A strong aged care sector protects the safety, health, well-being, and quality of life of older people. It also works to keep improving the quality of its care. High-quality care means putting older people first and upholding their rights under the Statement of Rights. You can find more information about the Statement of Rights on our website and the website of the Department of Health, Disability and Ageing.
Okay, so hopefully this video would give you a better understanding of the new Statement of Rights. As we say, it is really fresh and new to us. It is not new because it is quite similar as the previous aged care Charter of Aged Care Right. But now, according to the new Aged Care Act, we're no longer using the Charter of Aged Care Rights. Now it is called the Statement of Rights. And hopefully you did write down some notes regarding the all of those rights to the people living in receiving aged care services. Okay, you remember, you as a staff working in the aged care facility, you are responsible to helping your clients to understanding their rights, and you do need to keep the records. How do you help your clients to understanding the rights? You can't say, yeah, I had a discussion with John, that's it. No, you do need to keep some records, including you may document it, write down what you discussed, when did you discuss, how long did you discuss, and if your clients say, no, after the discussion I still don't understand, then you need to show evidence. What else have you done to help your clients to further understanding, or did you provide any other options or getting someone else to come and explain to your clients, etc., etc. All right. So make sure, as it say in the video, we no longer require the client to sign on the statement of right, but it is important for us to still explain and also keeping all those records. Okay. Any questions regarding the statement of rights?
No.
Okay.
No.
If you want to look for a relevant information, you can search on Google or on YouTube the statements of rights, or go straight to the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commissions. There are a lot of information on the websites that you can access and help you to understanding all of those recent changes in aged care. Right? And following, it is about the industrial relations legislation and requirements relevant to our organizations. So as you can see, depends on the organization you work with. Those organizations, they will under a different awards. All right, so firstly, it's telling you what awards means. So the awards is giving guidelines or about your pay rate, about your allowance, the hours, the leave and overtime, etc. So far as I know, in New South Wales, some of the organizations, they may under the enterprise agreement, or some of the organizations, they may using the nurses award. So it depends on the organization. So as we say, each organization, they would have their own pay rates. So it's not every organization will be the same. And also the allowance. The allowance, it would be including for laundry. For example, your organization will giving you a free uniform, right? And you need to wash your uniform, they will give you some allowance for you for laundry. I think that allowance would be around probably $5 or $10 per fortnight for laundry. Yeah, and also they probably would give you some allowance for you to buy the shoes, your work shoes, right? Those would be the allowance. It depends on the awards your organization is using. And finally, in the awards, they will mention about what type of leave you are entitled to have. For those really common and basic leave, for example, annual leave, sick leave, maternity leave, long service leave, all of those that will clearly mention into the awards when or where or how you are going entitled to apply for those leave, right? And also in the award, they will mention how many hours will counted as overtime. If you work overtime, how much they're supposed to pay you, what is the loading, etc. What is the penalty? For example, if you work over the weekends, yeah, so you're working over the weekend, you will have a higher rate. Or if you're working on the public holidays, they will have a higher pay rate as well. Or you can check onto the awards. And also in the award, they will clearly mention about the terminations. What is if your employer, they may need to terminate the contract with you. They need to giving you the notice. They may need to give you some compensations, like probably a month or 2 weeks of your salary or your wages. They need to pay you if they need to terminate you, or if you want to resign, how many weeks notice you need to provide it to your employer, etc., etc. All of those information, they are you can find from your organization's awards. Either it's nurses award or it's an enterprise agreement, or depends on the organization, right? And the relevance award for aged care community services, as we say, also including social, community, home care, and disability service industry award. Yeah, that is probably more applies to working in home care or working in disability services. and also the Health Professional and Support Service Awards. That probably would relevant to like the physio, doctors, or some of the nurse practitioner, etc. Right? So that is you can. I would encourage you guys when you start working in an organization, ask a copy of their award, and you can have a look. All right? That is also the requirements for your employer to provide the copy to you. Okay. And also here, this slide is also showing you what is the specific legislation in the area of your work. Some of them it's like guardianship. Does anyone knows what guardianship is? Have you ever heard about guardianship? No? Okay. So guardianship, it is a legally appointed a persons who can make decisions on behalf of another person. For example, your clients, let's say 70 or 75 or 80 years old, she starts slowly deteriorating. She probably not able to making consents for herself, or she's not able to making more decisions. So she would like to legally appoint her daughter or her son, or even though her friends, as her guardian. So there is a legal process, and also that need to be done by filling out some particular forms that need to be witnessed by the solicitor, etc., to making as a valid guardianship. So simple as what we're trying to say, guardianship is somebody legally appointed another persons to make decision on behalf of them. Okay, for example, your mother is appointed you as the guardian, then you can make all of those legal decisions on behalf of your mother, something like this. So that is a guardianship. You will see a lot of elderly people or people living in aged care, they do having the guardianship, especially they may not have kids, right? Some of the elderly, they never married, they never have kids, so they can still appoint somebody. It could be their friend, it could be her neighbors, or it could be someone else they trust to be their guardian. It doesn't have to be a family member. Okay, especially sometimes the clients may not get along well with their family member, then they can definitely appoint somebody else as their guardian. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and you probably heard about a public guardian, or we call it as public trustee. So they are also different. So public guardians, or we call that is for the client who doesn't have any family member, or they do not have any in the governments, they are the legal persons to making decision on behalf of those clients. Like for example, in my previous facility, I do have a client. He doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have anybody to be his guardian. And then we, because in living in aged care, we do require to ask a lot of permissions from the client. So the client is no longer able to make those decisions. So we report it, and we apply for guardianship, public guardianship, from the tribunal and the government. So the government, they have departments that is to supporting those people who doesn't have any person as the person responsible. So the government will appoint someone to be the public guardians for the client, right? So that's another one. So the public guardians, they are only making the decisions on the decisions about our clients' medical and also general decisions. If comes with our clients' financial decisions, then it will be decided by the public trustee. Okay, you may heard of this term before. So public trustee is also appointed by the tribunal and also the governments, but they are only managing our clients' financial aspects. They are not comes to about medical decisions or any other decision. They will only managing our clients' finance. For example, how the clients spend their pensions, their money from pensions, or and also their daily expenses in the aged care facility. So as the management team in the facility, they do need to liaise with the public trustee to applying for money, getting the money for the clients to use in the facility. All right, so that is just some of the legislation or some of the terms that are related to our work. But most of the time, the public trustee or public guardians or guardianship that will deal with by your supervisor and your manager. All right. And also another specific legislation that related to our work, that is cultural safety. I'm sure you guys have already heard about cultural safety. Can anyone explain to me what your understanding about cultural safety in our workplace, in the aged care facility? What does that mean? What do we do in terms of cultural safety? That is what we discussed last week. Anyone? Or you already completely forgot about cultural safety?
We respect other cultural groups.
We respect other cultural groups. That's too general. Can you? Yeah, you're right. Definitely, we do need to respect other cultural group. But in our workplace, what else do we need to do in terms of cultural safety?
We need to support, respect, and make them feel valued about their cultural aspect.
Okay, yeah, it's good. So what do we do? What do we do to show our respect to the client's culture?
Encourage involvement.
Encouraging involvement, excellent. Yeah, good. What else? Anything else?
Prevents the discrimination about spiritual belief and religious belief.
Excellent.
Are they the same thing? So?
Yep. Well done. Yeah, correct. So cultural safety is what we need to do is to creating an environment where people feel safe to express their culture or practice their traditional practices, right? And also they would a cultural safe workplace has no discriminations and also have no racism, right? Those we call as cultural safety. So for the clients, we need to create a environment that your clients feel safe to express their culture, practice their customs, and also in terms of with the colleagues in our workplace, we definitely need to has no racism and also discrimination, right? That's about cultural safety in our workplace. How about restrictive practices? What do you remember about restrictive practices? You guys have already done, I think, almost 10 units or 8 units, I believe, as you're doing morning and evening sessions. So you have already, up to today, you have already done, I believe, at least 8 units. So you should know what restrictive practice is about. As
Recording in
restrictive
progress.
practices, right? So as a support worker or as an aged care workers, we try to avoid using restrictive practices, only using restrictive practices as the last resort, okay? When it's really, really, really needed. Otherwise, we should not and we should avoid using restrictive practices. As we say, or also as we you all know that using restrictive practices, that it's breaching our clients' freedom, right? And your clients cannot move freely. So if it's not necessary, we definitely don't want to using restrictive practices, okay? And make sure, don't forget, if you're using restrictive practices inappropriately, for example, without consent or without trying any alternative options, then you go straight using restrictive practices, that would be another case for mandatory reporting, okay? If you see your other colleagues using restrictive practices to your clients inappropriately, you also do need to report, all right? So we have discussed that. And also this slide is showing you about a bit more of your work role boundary and responsibility. So it's telling you that responsibility, it means whatever we need to perform as part of our job, right? As we say, as a care support worker or as a registered nurse or even though as a receptionist, we're all holding our own responsibility. So we're required to perform those tasks and the job as the requirements. And also limitation. Limitation means the tasks that are outside your scope or it's not part of your role to do so. Okay. So for example, if your client asking you, can you please give me an injection? I'm really in pain. Do you think that is your role to do so?
No, it's not.
Yeah, definitely that's not, right? That is my job, right? So you can if your clients are asking you, can you give me an injection because of my pain? How do you respond to your client? Would you tell your client, sorry, it is not my job, and you walk away? How would you respond to your clients?
No, first is informing them that it's not in my scope to give them painkillers and that I should have someone to come over and check. But I should also need to ask them how is their pain level and where is the pain and the duration, the pain duration.
Excellent, really good. So definitely, even though you are not the person to giving the injection or the pain relief medication, but you still can do a lot. For example, like you say, collecting some information from your clients, like where the pain is, how long does he feeling pain, what is the pain level, etc., etc., and definitely pass those informations to giving some injections or pain relief medication to your clients. You as a support workers, you do need to come back and follow up your client's pain. Okay, it doesn't mean that the nurses giving the injection after they've done their part, nothing else you need to do. Don't forget you need to come back and follow up, right, to check on your clients. And here is listed on the slide. As a workers, you must understanding your job role clearly, and also make sure avoid tasks not listed in your official role document, which is your employment agreements and also your job description. Okay, always ask them for a copy of your job description. If something is not listed on your job description, then that's not your job to do. All right. And the following one is about WHS. That is, as we mentioned, that is also, it is a legislation, but that is also our code of practice. That is one of the example of a code of practice. So from now on, I will just mention WHS. All right, if any of you don't know what WHS is, please write it down. That's about work, health, and safety. So have a look at the left-hand side of this slide. Firstly, that is the work health and safety laws that to help protect everyone at work. So clearly again, that is a legislation. Okay, every state in Australia or any of the territory, they do have their own legislation about WHS. So please check on your state's legislation. But overall, in general, this legislation is keeping the workers and the clients safe and healthy, okay? Including like we need to wearing PPE, we need to taking some precautions, we need to using the proper equipment, we need to follow manual handling, all of those, right? That's related to the client's safety and health. I think in week 10 or the week after, we were going to discuss these units about work health and safety, right? And definitely in this legislation that is covering what we need to do to prevent any injury or illness or dangers, right? That is come to discuss about hazards and risks. And this legislation encouraging workers to care for their own and others' safety, which is we have mentioned about we are not only protecting our client safety or ourselves, we do also need to make sure other visitors or other colleagues or anyone else in the workplace, their safety as well, right? And on the right-hand side of this slide, it's showing you that would be also your organization policy and procedure, right? So that is a federal government's legislation, and each state, you do have your own WHS regulation, and also under each organization, they do need to have the WHS policy and procedure in place as well. All right. So in the policy and procedure, they will cover those stop points such as safe manual handling, mental health support, safe work environment, first aid procedure, and also the risk assessment and hazard reporting. Right, those are would clearly outline in your organization policy and procedure. So the government's legislation will give you a specs and also tell you what is your role and responsibility as a manager, as a support worker, or as an aged care worker working in this industry, what you need to follow. But the policy of the organization or the procedure, they will listing every single requirement and steps for all the staff to follow, right? So they are the policy would be developed according to and aligned with the legislation for sure. Okay. So far, any questions? So we have discussed a numbers of different legal requirements. How many you can remember? How many legal requirements we have discussed today? Do you you remember which legal requirements we have discussed today?
Discrimination, right?
Yeah, discrimination.
Age and gender.
Sorry, what's the second one?
Age and gender.
Sorry?
Age and gender.
Age and gender.
Confidentiality, privacy,
Neutrality. Yeah.
consent.
Consents. Yeah, informed consents. Correct. What else?
Mandatory reporting.
Mandatory reporting.
Dignity of risk, duty of care.
Yeah. Duty of care. 7.
Codes of conduct and codes of practice.
Yeah. Excellence. Code of conduct and code of practice. Perfect. Anything else? What we just discussed.
Restricted practices.
Which restricted practices, yeah? And your work role with
Work role boundary, work health, safety.
Yeah, excellent. So please write all of them down. Make sure you are understanding all of those legal requirements. Can you let me know? Please don't be shy to ask questions. Do you understanding all of those legal requirements? Don't hesitate. Does any of this you are still not quite sure about any of those?
I think we all understand now. The problem is that how long we're gonna memorize it.
That's why you do need to, because at this stage you guys are not practicing those legal requirements. But I mean, if you start working or you start doing your work placements, then definitely you would know how to put those in place into practice. But at least at this stage, you must understanding each of them and knowing how to following and practicing those in the future. I think that's the key part for you. But when you're doing your assessment book, it's definitely would asking you to explain each of those requirements. All right. When you're doing your workplace, when you're doing your assessment book, if you have any question, just feel free. All right. So we just quickly continue and finish these parts before we finish. The following is about how we follow the legal requirements in our work practices. The first part we have explained to you all of those legal requirements. Now it's going to show you what do we do to in terms of following those requirements. So definitely, one of the easy way for you to follow is to check on your organization policy and procedure. Right. So here is listed the first 2 dot point explain to you what is policy means, what is procedure means, right? Procedure, that is the refer to the appropriate ways to going about doing a task, which is giving you the guidelines. What do you do this task? Following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Policy is giving you a general statement about what's the organization's asking you to achieve or asking you to do or asking to expect to see some particular outcomes. Right? That is about the policy. Procedure is more about a guideline to teach you what to do step by step. And also the scope of role, that is to telling you what is your duty as an employee of the organization. So that's clearly you do need to understanding your role. So for following here to legal requirements, you must following the steps are listed at the bottom of this slide. is firstly, you do need to determine your work area of the work. For example, you work as a support workers, or you work as a receptionist, or you work as a cleaner or kitchen hands or whatever the role. So you must understand where is your what is your role, what is your work area. I do see some of my colleagues like they are working as care support workers for 3 days a week, but they also work as a reception to support when the receptionist is sick or unable to come. They probably step in to support the admin team to answering some phone calls, taking some, doing some documentation, etc. As a receptionist. That is okay. As long as your employer they explain to you if you're doing more than one role. Alright, but most of the staff they will probably just have one role as a care support worker. But if in case if you do work more than one role, you must clearly understanding your work role boundary. Right? And definitely you must checking your relevance documents to identify your legal requirements. As we say, some of the legal requirements they are more particularly applied to certain role, right? Like us as a registered nurse, our responsibility and also some of the roles would definitely more than you guys and more heavier than you guys. So you do need to taking some specific documents related to your role, right? And also apply or accomplish the legal requirement. So as we say, always put that legal requirements into our daily practices. Everything we do, definitely 100% to follow all of those requirements from us, right? And the following part is it's about how we report to the bridges. If you remember, like the scenario, the activities we've done about Martin. So, let's say if it's Martin, it's already employed by the organization, and he identifies some of the bridges. What does he need to do? Right. This is what we're going to show you. So, firstly, you do need to understand what is the bridges means. So, bridges occur when there is failure to comply with the legislative obligation. Alright, so that means they are failed to follow the legislation, or they did not follow their legislative obligation. For example, if you fail to follow your duty of care, or you fail to follow the privacy and the confidentiality, those are calling as the breaches, right? So, such as if there's any human error, technical difficulty, or any misinterpretation issues, etc., that would also consider as breaches. Alright, we are human beings, we say, but sometimes our human error it will still say as breaches. Alright, so that's why we do have so many control measures to prevent or us to having any errors. For example, giving medication, we do need to do 3 times checks. We need to check everything at 3 times at least. That's to prevent any medication error, something like this. And also here is showing you the breach. A breach can either be potential breach or an actual breach, right? So we're going to show you a bit more what is potential and actual breach. Here is showing you a potential breach occurs when a person intends not to comply with their legal obligation and can be recognized through a statements made by a person or any actions by the person. So that means the person is doing it in purpose, then they are potentially or intended not to follow those legal requirements, then you foresee they are having a potential breach. For example, if you see your staff, they are thinking to probably taking some advantage from your clients, so that would be definitely a potential breaches. Or if your colleagues start telling you, oh, I probably want to ask my clients to buy something for me, or etc. Even though that has not been happening yet, but if your clients intend to doing in that way, that will consider as potential breaches. So you do need to also inform and report to your supervisor regarding the potential breach, even though that has not been happened yet, right? And the actual breach, that is when non-compliance has already occurred, right? So if that have already happened, then that we say that is an actual breach. So for sure, you must report it to your supervisor, and also checking with the person is finished with their duty. Did the staff has fully completing their duty, is doing their responsibility properly, or also is following what is agreed upon in a contract. So that means, do they following the contract and doing all those required tasks or responsibility, etc. So if they are failed to following finish their duty, or they are putting your clients at risks, or they are breaching or not following the contracts, then that would say they are an actual breach. If there is an actual breach or potential breach, make sure you inform, report according to your organization's policy and procedure, right? Inform your supervisor what is happening, what you are aware, and what would be the potential breach as well. It is definitely it's important for us to report the actual breach, but most of the time, if we can identify or foresee any potential breach, then we can take some action earlier to prevent that it's actually happen, right? And also, if there's any chance that you can consult with the relevant person, right? If you know your colleagues, they are probably potentially breaching any of the legislation or any of the policy, talk to that person, telling them, hey, you are at risk. You are probably not doing according to the policy. Probably you need to change, right? So let the person consult with the person, or talk to your supervisor, and let your supervisor to talk to the relevant staff. And reporting early, that would help, as we say, help to prevent and resolve any conflicts. So don't wait until you collecting all of those informations, or better to report it early so we can take actions early as well, right? And here at the bottom of this slide is showing you what are the steps to report a breach. So firstly, get as much collecting as much evidence as you can, right? But you don't have to wait until you're getting all of those evidence, because sometimes evidence taken it takes time, right? So try to get as much as you can, and writing a form, a complaint forms, that you can provide all of those detail about the breach to your supervisor regarding what you observe, or what you heard, or what you are seeing, or what you heard from the client, etc. So write it down into the form that you can submit to the appropriate person or to the departments, right? If it's regarding internal breach, definitely let your supervisor know. But if sometimes related to a really serious cases or incidents or breach, you will not only report to your supervisor, you may sometimes need to report it to the departments, right? Like the police or the commissions, or even to other government's department too. And for the process below showing what happened after you file a complaint, for example, it's you need to fill out the complaint form and your management start doing their investigations, and we do need to, possible, may go to the conciliations and also the possible for courts actions as well. So hopefully we don't want to need to go to the courts, but yeah, it depends on the case or depends on what breach you have. Not you have, I mean, for that cases. But here it's just showing you what would be happening if after we filing the complaints. And the following slide is showing you what would be the consequences of those breaches. Yeah, as we mentioned, it could be quite complicated, but most relevant, it could lead to some legal actions, right? So we really don't want any of you would get involved into any of the legal issues. Or sometimes if your organization or any staff from that organization, they are not following those legislation, they will receive some fines, right? They will need to pay some fines to the governments, or even though they may enforceable undertaking and go to the jail, right? This is really worst case. Or also some of the staff, they may get some dismissal or terminate their contract by their supervisor if we breaching any of those legal requirements. Okay, so that is really serious. And also some of the relevant legal issues that is related to like discrimination. If any forms of those discriminations, that would definitely get involved in legal issues, right? Or even though we say workplace bullying or workplace harassment, that would also consider as a legal issue as well. So there is a specific criteria to saying that is a workplace bullying. So the criteria is including firstly that is happening in the workplace, and also that's actions have been taken by the person is ongoing. If the bullying or if something bad to the staff that is only happened once, then no more, or the staff being terminated, then we can't say that that is a workplace bullying. So those bullying that need to be ongoing, right? And that must be only happening in the workplace, and they would cause some impact or injury or damage to the person, then that will consider as a workplace bullying, right? And also if any unfair labor practice, for example, if you or any of your colleagues, they're being dismissed by or terminated by their employer with unlawful reasons, or not receiving any overtime compensation, for example, that will consider as unfair labor practices. Okay, so if your employer, they need to terminate your contract, they must have a proper reason. They can't just say, oh, because you are late, I'm not happy about your performance, and they are terminate you. No, they can't do that, right? And definitely, if, as we say, any elder or child abuse, that is 100% is a legal issue, right? And if any of you or anyone, they are breaching someone's privacy and confidentiality, then that would definitely be considered as a legal issue. So overall, if any breaches of any of the legal requirement we have discussed today, that will definitely would involve as a legal issue, because as we say, that is a legal requirement that is according to the law saying we must do it in that way. So I hope none of you would have any of those problems, as long as you following and understanding your role, following of all of those legal requirements, consult with your supervisor if that may have chance of breach, any of those requirements, I'm sure your supervisor would be able to help you and guide you what to do, right? So as a support worker, please, firstly, understanding your work role. Secondly, following your organization policy and procedure, understanding what is your limitations, what is your boundary, right? And make sure our client is safe, but we are not overprotecting our clients. We should not causing any harm to our clients from our end, but we do promote our clients to practice making their own decision, even though those decisions may involve some risks, right? That is dignity of risk we have talked about. And also, please, everything we do, we need to get the consent from our clients, including informed consent and non or uninformed consent, right? And different way to giving consents, such as written documents or verbal consent, or even non-verbal consent as well. All right. That's it for today's class. Any questions that you have regarding what we discussed today? Anyone have any questions?
No.
No? Okay, so if you're saying no, I believe you are confident of understanding all of those legal requirements. Am I right? Are you confident?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Why you still sounds not confident? I'm probably thinking, probably next class, I'll try to giving you guys some different scenarios, right? Let you to practice, let you to see in those scenarios what we supposed to do, right? Probably that would help you to having more understanding about those legal requirements. How's that?
Good. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
you think
please.
that would help? Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. For sure. So for next week, we would going to focus on explaining to you guys about the ethical requirements. You can see for this week, we focus on talk about legal requirements. And next week, we will focus on about ethical requirement. And I will definitely, as we say, I'll try to give you guys some activities to do, so to help you to understanding the legal and ethical requirements together. All right. If you have no questions, let me quickly mark all of you's attendance. I can see some of those students, they actively participate answering questions and doing the activity, which is great. But a couple of students, yeah, so you guys need to think about how you're going to meeting your responsibility as a student, right? So Hadi, yes, I know. Is Hadi still here?
Yeah.
Thank you, Hadi.
Thank you, Tracy.
Johannes?
Yeah, Tracy.
Thank you. Steve? Steve? No? Vincent?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Vincent. Elsa?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you very much. Indira? No? Putri? Putri?
You mean Gabriela Putri or just Putri?
I do have Putri Bonita Ramahati. Is that your name, or
Oh no, my name is Gabriela Putri.
your name seems not showing on the attendance list? Let me write down your name. So, are you new? Are you the new students to this course?
Yes, this is my first day.
Oh yeah, no wonder. Welcome, Gabriela. So Putri is your surname?
Yes.
Okay. so we don't have Putri Bonita? No? Okay. Leo?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, Leo. And Christian Andrew? Christian Andrew? No. Benino?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Zaki?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, your name is only showing Z. So next time, put in your full name so it's easier for me to recognize you. Corvina?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Corvina. And Don Baolin?
Yes,
Right?
I'm here.
Thank you. And Tanya? No, Tanya seems haven't attended any of this class. Yong?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Yong. Erling?
Yes, here.
Thank you, Erling. Always hard for me to pronounce. Dangada? Dangada Bitabona? No. Ram? Ram? No? Ram is not here? Retta?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Retta.
Thank you.
Mutiara? No. Janice?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Kantika? Kantika? No. Lily Suyanti? Lily? No. Felicia?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, Tracy.
Andrew? Oh, sorry, I want Andrew. Oh, Audrey. Sorry, Audrey.
Audrey?
Yes, Audrey.
Audrey is here, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Audrey. Mayadi?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much. Darwin?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you, Darwin.
Thank you.
Suyang? Sanyang True? Sanyang? Sanyang?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you. And Andy? Iwayan Riso Andy? No. Christians Hangas too? Is it, am I right? Am I?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Christian. And Yenda? 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 No?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
you're
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Novia? Novia? No. And Yoonhee Kim? Yoonhee? No. Pimento Chan?
Yes, I'm here.
Yep. Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I think I have already marked everybody. Did I miss anyone? Does anyone?
Yes.
Hello.
Sorry. Diwa.
Yeah, this is my first time, Tracy, to join the
Oh,
Yeah, this is another my first time.
okay, alright, I'll do it one by one. So, Jason, is it?
Yeah, Jason.
Jason's your first name, and your last name is Fred.
Yeah.
That's your first class. Course. And who else?
It's me, Dewa.
Diwa That's your first name?
Yeah, and Ayun is my middle name, and Darmayanti is my last name.
How do you spell your last name? Because I cannot see your full name.
Oh, wait.
D-A-R-M-A-Y-A-N.
A-M-T-I, yeah.
Yeah, okay. How do I, so Diwa, you prefer to be called Diwa?
Yeah, it's alright.
Okay, no problem. Anyone else I haven't called your name and you also attended today's class? Please let me know. Have I marked everybody? Yes? Okay. If I have already marked everyone, then that's the end of today's class, and I will see you guys again next Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Tracy.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any other questions. We can discuss it next week. All right?
Okay.
Yes.
For sure. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.